Every single attribution platform that exists is not going to include that video view in your lifetime, in your customer journey. Most people are going to go and turn that off because it doesn't demonstrate contribution. And the issue with that, and that's the biggest fundamental flaw. The problem with attribution platforms is they don't tell the entire story. They can't tell if somebody had a view through on YouTube. They can't tell if somebody had a view through on Facebook. If there was a video that was sitting at the top of your funnel that was telling your customer journey, or sorry, your business story, your hero's journey, whatever you want to call it, and people consume that and they didn't make a purchase, and then 3 hours later they got another ad that was like just an image ad and they clicked it, every single attribution platform that exists is not going to include that video view in your lifetime, in your customer journey. Most people are going to go and turn that off because it doesn't demonstrate contribution. And the issue with that, and that's the biggest fundamental flaw with how people measure attribution and brand and experience. We've come to terms in this world that if we don't make a sale on the first click or within we can't attribute it back, the advertising platform sucks. But traditional marketing never worked that way. It's building up all of these different elements and touch points until you've built your customer or your potential customer to the point where their identity is tied to whatever it is that you've produced and they want to be part of that. And you want to make it so that your customer doesn't want to leave your brand, because leaving your brand means that they lose their identity. And you can look at Apple phones and Android phones like that. I'm never getting rid of my iPhone because I'm an iPhone user. There's wars battled that are worse than religious battles of multiple centuries ago, where people are like, oh, your iPhone doesn't have this feature that my Galaxy had 6 years ago. And they're ready to kill each other. So anyways,
I just want to know real quick, how do you do that? Because you saying that, and I just think about it, some of the brands that I associate to myself, and I know other people who are associated with certain brands, and you're right, their identity gets tied to it. How do you do that? How do you create that?
I mean, the first thing is doing some sort of ethnography studies. So understanding who your existing customers are, whether that's surveys or getting on the phone,
right?
Try to break down how old they are,
identify them.
Yeah, identify them. And then going to the communities where these people exist, so that you're going to have a spectrum of different avatars, and then trying to figure out where the bulk of them are, and then find out where they exist inside of communities, and look at the questions, things that those people are experiencing,
right?
And what the kind of common themes are. And then you need to build your brand and your core values around what's important to those people and what they aspire to be. The end goal is to using your brand signals to other people the identity and person that they aspire to be, and that when they stop using that or stop doing that particular thing, when they quit your brand, they're quitting their identity.
That is so interesting. Yeah.
If you can convince people and you can behave in such a way that people want to get to that point, it's like the hero's journey thing, right? If you can get to the point where people associate their identity with your brand, then
it's game over.
You've won the game. Yeah.
That's perfectly put. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I'm just thinking about even different YouTubers, influencers and stuff that people really kind of get behind. And you're right. It's I like this idea of you create your brand around what they aspire to be, right? I'm even thinking about Gary Vee, for example, right? And kind of this whole hustle, all this whole mentality of that. And people yeah, I want to get behind that. Or we saw Andrew Tate just pop off, right? All these guys, they aspire to be this, I don't know what he's trying to represent,
yeah.
And then there's these big brands the Chanels and the Hermes and stuff. And I see the women who they this luxury lifestyle, and they aspire to be that. So they buy these products to kind of feel like they're part of that, right? I'm totally like that with Apple products.
Hermes, you can't even buy certain products until you spent a certain amount of money. You don't even qualify to buy a Hermes bag until you've bought the last generation down of Hermes bags.
100%.
You're signaling inside of those ecosystems even, which, status games suck, but
yeah, it's status and, whatever else. But yeah, I'm totally Apple, all Apple kind of stuff, and kind of I probably wouldn't let it go, but it's also the UI and all that stuff. But yeah, I do kind of really love the brand, right? There's certain things like that, right? Andrew just loves the whole YouTube thing, right? He's not going to let it go, right? And so,
I'm obsessed.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting because I have seen Tru Earth. I have seen these people who could get behind your brand and love it, right? You have a lot of raving fan customers that just love the product. I've seen a lot of that, so I think that's very interesting.
It's interesting when I go to a kid's birthday party. This happened to me right after COVID. I went to a birthday party thing, and somebody's like, "Oh, Ryan was with Tru Earth," and I got like 5 or 6 people "Oh my God, we love your product." And I to be honest, outside of marketing people, I don't really I like being introduced as myself and not the guy that is part of this thing. And it's like, I'm kind of like, it's weird attention for me, but I kind of like try to go into these things and not really talk about what I do because most people have heard about it. And it's kind of like this, I'm not saying I'm a celebrity, but it's weird when people find out what it is that I do and they know the product.